Good morning, everyone. It's about 6:01 a.m. on October 17th, Friday. Um, so I'm up a little bit early just because, partially because I've been trying to get some more work done, just more in a concentrated way, and then the other reason is I accidentally fell into this 3-day water fast. Really, it was just a 2-day water fast, I guess, extended a little bit by mistake. Well, it was partially by mistake, but I'm gonna have to discuss a few things because this whole thing is very complicated with dieting and ketones and what I originally planned for. And I know I keep talking about this, but the thing is, well, for example, today I just weighed myself. I'm 151.6 pounds, and that's my lowest since the last 7-day fast, the end of that. So I'm pretty sure I'm losing fat, maybe a little bit of muscle, but one thing I didn't do, so 151.6, and I can weigh myself again. I'm just gonna take my shirt off and stuff like that, just to prove it. And maybe it might show 152 or whatever, but that's not necessarily the point. So I'm gonna try to cover myself. I guess I can't really do that. But yeah, it's not giving. I don't know why it was showing 152, and then I took a piss, and then that kind of thing. Now it's showing something slightly higher. So the scale is weird, but I was showing 151.6. And it seems to me that makes sense, actually, because the other scale shows like even less than 150. So right now it's showing 152.4, but anyway, that's not the whole point. The whole point is that that's much lower than my last reading, especially when I went in for the DEXA scan a week ago. And so I wanted to say that, well, that's not the whole point of what I've been doing. It was like just 100% weight loss, although that's the original goal, right? But there's a connection here. Basically, what I'm saying is that one of the reasons why I decided to fast is so that I can get my ketone reading to go up, right? And that's the whole principle behind everything I've been doing, or at least that's the whole principle of what my plan was, right? Is to keep those ketones elevated. So the problem is that hasn't been the case, and you might think, well, you're not in ketosis then. Well, that's not necessarily true. I think that because like normally if I'm doing a fast, and this is the third day, my ketones are at least 1.5, 2, maybe even 2.5. But I'm still seeing, even during that dry fast, numbers between 0.1 and 0.4, nothing above that. I mean, there was one time about a week ago, it was like 0.5 or 0.6, but this has been consistent. And there was one day where all of a sudden I went from 2.1, and it was like, wow, this is great. And it wasn't like, and then I think that was even after I ate. This was like 2 weeks ago. It was still showing high, but then the next day it dropped to 0.4, and I thought, what in the hell's going on here? And so my theory is that I'm kicked up a notch in terms of keto adaptation, and so I'm probably never going to see the high numbers again. So I'm basically unless I decide to have a weekend where I wanted to indulge in a bunch of carbs, like over 100 grams or something like that, then I'm gonna rewire my whole energy system, and then it'll basically, once it starts getting into keto again, it'll start showing higher numbers. But that hasn't been the case for several months now. So I'm at a point now, I think, after several months of being really strict about low carb that and keto and all that stuff, and like basically avoiding alcohol and all, because I haven't had wine or alcohol or whatever since June. So it's about 5 months. I haven't had alcohol for about 5 months. So it's like, and that's, that would inhibit ketosis and all that. So it makes sense why I'm seeing that. Like I'll show you right now what they are. It's gonna show like 0.3 or 0.4. So I guarantee you. And this is the third day I'm fasting, water fasting. So it's like, what's going on here? And yet I'm seeing a low, and I know it's water retention largely, but I'm seeing 151.6 pounds on my, my scale. So, compared to other times where it'll go up to like 155, 156, even 157, several weeks before. So, not to say, I mean, a lot of that was water retention, but remember when I went for the DEXA, the last time, I went down to 12.6% body fat, and my total fat, or my total weight was like 153.6 or something pounds. So if I go in today, it'll probably show 152.3 or 2, and I guarantee you I'll probably have at least a 0.5 pound fat loss. I mean, the only way to determine that is if I actually go in, but I'm trusting the process, and I know it sounds weird for me to say that, but I'm trusting the process, and it is what it is. Do I regret not eating in the last 2 days? Sort of, because I'm trying to do OMAD. The problem is, like I was telling you, is that like I said, I was trying to get my ketones up, and I just wasn't seeing that. And it seems like no matter how long I fast now, I'm never going to get that up again, because I'm so keto adapted, unless I start having sugars again to recycle the process of trying to becoming less fat adapted. So I'll show you what they are right now. They're not going to be very high. I mean, I know it could take several days, but like almost always at this point it would be like 1.0 or something. And again, during the dry fast, I was at 0.3 the whole time, no matter how much I wasn't taking in. So yeah. Again, I haven't eaten for about 56 hours, and this is my ketone result. .4. So you see, it's still pretty low, and it's because my theory is I'm keto adapted. So at this point, I have to be humble enough, or whatever you want to call it, to just not even worry about ketone values now. Is just try to trust the process, because clearly I'm losing weight, or losing fat, and I mean, I don't seem like I have any issues with concentration or anything like that, like I was potentially before, where I was like thinking I had to get some, reach out for some chips or whatever. So yeah, I mean, and my body composition is just getting better and better. So I don't think there's anything wrong. Like, if I wanted to eat yesterday, I could have eaten yesterday, or if I wanted to eat the day before, same thing. I mean, I probably would weigh a little bit heavier, but that's fine, because so like I had like if you think about it, like a 3,200 calorie deficit in the last 2 days, because I haven't eaten, but which is good that I accelerated, but still, it's like, I mean, well, there's also muscle loss issues potentially, um, because if you don't eat protein, then yeah, um, and if you don't try to do, I mean, I did do some resistance training, and that's the difference between what I did this time and the last times I've fasted, is that this time I refused to do cardio because that could also lead to muscle loss. And here's another thing I noticed too, is that when I do cardio, I tend to increase that to I bump myself out of the glycogen stores. Usually when I'm doing an intense run like 10 miles or even 4 or 5 miles, and that effect didn't even happen. Like usually you'll see that the ketones are like 0.3, 0.2, but then after the run you'll get up to 1. I'll get up to like 1.5, 1.2 or something, and that didn't even happen. Like I did this about 4 days ago, and it was kind of like a fasted workout. Went back, tested my ketones, and I know in theory sometimes it'll go down because you do workouts or whatever, but this should have caused me, because I didn't have that much to eat the day before or whatever, caused me to get out of that glycogen store dependence, and like a step higher. And it didn't. I still had a 0.2 ketone reading. So I don't think, honestly, it's like, it seems like this has been happening now for the last 2-3 weeks, and I've been extremely hard on myself about it, because I'm like, I really need to be in ketosis, but yeah, I have to understand, I am in ketosis. I just don't, and the reason is because I've been super strict about it. So I'm just more adapted. And to be perfectly honest, like right now, I have a little bit of cortisol, but I feel like I could keep going. Like I don't even need to eat for forever. That's how it feels like right now. And I know it's all about leptin and stuff like that, but kicking in, and then the ghrelins being gone, but still, it's like, but I could still sense, like, that whole pituitary gland and the hypothalamus working together, sending signals. That hasn't been cut off. It's still there a little bit. So the hunger signals are kind of still there. Like, yeah, dude, you need to eat, because every time, like, your body, I'm learning about this better. Every time because your body is homeostatic. So every time it senses that something is not right, like energy wise, those signals through the pituitary gland and the hypothalamus work together to make you realize that you are not as energized as you could be in terms of an equilibrium. Like you're out of equilibrium, and it'll basically say, well, you're going to it's basically sending a signal to your brain saying you're going to be weak for the next, you're going to be weaker and weaker and weaker. Go eat, go eat, go eat, go eat, go eat. And so the ghrelin then gets released. And so if you get past that, then it stops doing that, because time is just a bitch or whatever. It just goes by. And then you don't get that as much. But every time your energy level kind of just goes down incrementally, you still have that cycle in your brain. So you still feel that to some extent, but it's almost zero after a while. It's just almost zero, especially if you're more keto adapted. It's just like those signals are sent to your brain and it's almost zero. But still, that whole idea of like a baseline, like an organic energy level depletion is always going to be sending those signals. So you're going to feel it every time. So I'm starting to, I do feel it a little bit, like in terms of like, oh, well, by the way, the signals of, oh, you're losing energy or whatever. And so I am feeling it, like, especially like right now I'm feeling that loss of energy. I just don't feel the ghrelin that goes along with it. I just have a sense for a loss of energy, or that I need something, So even though it's not 100% necessary, it's just, it is what it is. But I think it's time to break the fast, because I mean, I wasn't trying to do long-term fast anyway because of the energy level. I just know that like it's I've carried this out for too long, and I just need to eat. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna worry anymore about ketone levels. I'm not gonna check it anymore. The only time I'll check it is if I know that I did a lot of damage. Like if I actually did, if I knew that I cheated on something like for real, I had some cake and some other, BS that might be dirty, maybe like if I had nachos and then on a weekend and so on and so forth, and then I return back to, then I'd be like, okay, well, since I had all these carbs, I need to make sure that I'm back into ketosis. But I guarantee you right now, I've been in ketosis this entire time, even during the weekends and stuff like that. But it feels like I haven't. So, well, it's not that it feels like I haven't. It's just that the ketone reader keeps showing less than 1, so I'm concerned. And so, but like the results kind of speak for themselves. I'm definitely losing fat. I mean, the 151.6 pounds is like how it was when at the end of the 7-day fast. So, it's the last one. So it's like, and also, I was, obviously 153 during the 12.6% body fat thing measurement. So, I don't think I lost muscle, to be honest. And okay, that's what I was trying to say. I don't think I lost muscle because partially because this time I didn't do cardio, but I also did resistance training. And so in theory, you're preserving your muscles when you do resistance training. You're not actually, like I thought it was the other way around, but turns out that if you're using your muscles during the fast, you're preserving it. Not only are you preserving your muscles, whatever you have, even though you don't have protein, you're also the human growth hormone that comes along with fasting from getting beyond the point of the ghrelin production in between the pituitary and the hypothalamus, which pituitary gland and the hypothalamus, which is what is being produced, which is what those produce, the human growth hormone. Also, it allows you to stay young, and also could actually promote muscle growth too, or at least preserve it too. So that's the other thing too about all this. And so before I would have assumed, oh well, I'm losing muscle, blah blah blah, but by working out. But actually, no, you're preserving it by working out, and by doing resistance training. But by doing things like cardio and stuff like that, that's good for fat loss, but you're actually potentially losing muscle from that. So that's probably why, after like at the end of the DEXA scan or whatever, or when I start doing my DEXA scan at the end of a fast or something, I end up losing muscle. And this time I decided not to do cardio. So everything should have balanced out to where my muscle stayed the same, but I just had fat loss. And obviously water weight loss too, but it's always going to be the same whenever you do the same amount of fast. So I'm sure I lost about half a pound of fat, at least. So in the last week, and so that sounds pretty good. I mean, it makes sense because you think about it. I just had a 3,200 calorie deficit. So because my basal metabolic rate is about 1,600 a day. 1,600 calories a day. And so, yeah, I mean, it would make sense how I would lose at least half a pound of fat. But anyways, I got a lot of dishes to do, so just before I start cooking, and then, so just bear with me. I'm going to cook something. And then I also baked these cookies about 3 days ago, and I just didn't eat them because I wanted to fast. So I'm going to warm these up afterwards. They're basically like brownie cookies. And they are delicious. I mean, there's no sugar. I've been using this Lacantho powdered monk fruit sweetener. I just keep getting more and more. They're kind of expensive, like $13 a piece. I think so far I bought like 5 because I just go through them so many times. And you could use this for so many things. Like one of the things that I use it for, which is what I probably mainly use it for. And so this is the one that's been open already. So I have 2 left, but is for making sweet cream cold foam for iced coffee. It's perfect for that. I mean, it pretty much replicates the way that Starbucks does it or any other place almost perfectly. But you have to make sure you do it right. Like add that in and then just pour the heavy cream that you would need to use. You know, very sparing, like in very small batches, like just kind of like little teaspoons here and there, because if you do too much of that liquid, then it just won't get the consistency you're looking for. So yeah, I'm gonna have to do the dishes. It's amazing actually. This time, fasting this time around has been, I know it's a 3-day fast, and it's not that much. It has been a lot easier than before. Like it just, you know, like I don't feel like I haven't even had to use that many electrolytes. So I don't know. It just, I feel like I have the energy more than usual. So I guess that goes along with the low ketones because the fat adaptation fit check. I like to do random fit checks, but anyway. So yeah, I got a lot of dishes here to do. And yeah, these cookies look absolutely delicious. I mean, I'm looking so forward to, like, so I'm gonna microwave it for about 3 seconds, and they're gonna ooze out all those chocolate chips. They're supposed to be like these brownie cookies that I made, and I made it perfectly this time. Before it was like this is the way that I made it before, and it's so hard to make it right. Like it comes out like this, and so what I did. It was the mix that I was making came out like this, which is not all that great. I don't even know if I'm gonna eat this, but what I decided that I figured out what my issue was is that I didn't add enough cacao. So for me to make these cookies this way, I melted more cacao, about maybe half a cup more than what it's called for, because it called for only 1/2 cup. So if you use a full cup, you should be able to get a mix like that, and it should be thick enough, almost like ice cream consistency. And so that's what I'm going to be looking for next time I do it. But yeah, it's getting kind of warm because I put the AC on, so I'm going to take this off. But yeah. So yeah, I think I lost some fat, which is good. Always good, you know. Not always good, but typically good. So I might actually be at like 12, maybe even 11.9% body fat now. Like I said, my goal is 10% or less, slightly less, but not too much less, you know. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see that. Yeah, there's so many dishes. It's insane. The thing with me is I just been focused on work and computer stuff. And I told Mark that I told Mark from Mark's Up at Weight Loss that and everybody else too. Well, I didn't tell everybody else, but I think mostly Mark, because with Mark I've been messaging him on Instagram, right? And we just, you know, go back and forth with stuff. But I told him that I did a advanced lipid panel because I was interested in seeing whether or not keto I should continue with keto, you know, because, you know, I really like keto a lot. Everything about it is amazing. I like the fats and all that, you know. But the thing is, it could actually cause atherosclerosis, and if you do it for too long, you know, So I don't know. I mean, it's possible, but everybody's different, right? So I got an advanced lipid panel, and I have yet to see the results. But basically, the idea is like there's more research now. So the thing about it is that I need to figure out whether my LDL particles are good or bad, because right now my LDL is about 230, too high. So I don't know if what that means. So if you do a lipid panel, you could advanced lipid panel. It'll tell you more information about what that is, what you have, you know, because the LDL itself, the test, the basic lipid test doesn't say much. Because you actually have to analyze what's going on. So there's something called an LP little a and ApoB. So LP little a is basically an LDL particle, or what you would think of as an LDL particle, but it has a slightly different structure. And so that would be included in the total LDL particle. So it's something that you have to look at that would be relevant for LDL, you know, total LDL that you would see. But and so I'm looking forward to seeing the LP(a) quantity, and then I'm also looking forward to seeing ApoB, because ApoB is attached to all LDL particles, and if that is high, that means that you have small, dense, small LDL, and if it's low, if the ApoB is low, that suggests that you have larger LDL particles. So if I have larger ones, that means that I'm less susceptible to, or just anybody is less susceptible to atherosclerosis, or the hardening of the arteries, so based off of the diet that you currently have, or whatever you're doing, and your hereditary and stuff like that, your genes. So that's why I decided to do the test, because it could highly suggest like the direction I'm headed towards, at least for the next 20 years. I would say. So it's pretty important to get these tests. Because I plan on doing keto for a long time, and it's something that I almost want to make a lifestyle out of, that I've been making a lifestyle out of, because it's just like, it works for me, you know, for other things like being ketosis really works for me. So like just for anything, like other than like, I would say, like it works for me with this lifestyle that I have, where I'm going to work and, you know, I have to sit down, and so maybe it could be a temporary thing until I get a new job or something, or a new set of lifestyle. I don't think so, because most jobs are kind of similar in a sense, where you have to sit down for a while and you don't have that opportunity to burn off the carbs. So most jobs sorry, my alarm went off because I didn't know I was going to wake up so early, but anyways, I just keep doing the dishes. But yeah, those markers are important to look at. I mean, it's generally important to look at your health, but if you're planning on doing a diet like what I'm doing or whatever, you know, so it's especially important, because there's no like intervention that you could just randomly make if you decide, like, you know what I mean? Like if you look at your if you look at your LDL and say, oh no, I'm screwed, you know, and you listen to the doctor and you do everything the doctor tells you to do, like have corn oil and all that stuff, and you know, the Mazola and all that stuff, and take a statin, blah 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 blah, right? You do exactly what they say, basically. Well, that's fine, but it will never be consistent with a certain diet. It will never be consistent with like a specific lifestyle that you would want to live, you know, because because it's just meant to, those suggestions are meant to like, to just kind of converge to the standard American diet, which we all know what that leads to, you know, going back to the doctor. That's what it leads to. Going back to the doctor, asking him what the next convenient remedy is, you know. That's what that leads to. So it's just like a form of, it's just like an endless loop of convenience of, oh, I'm not doing things right, blah, 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 you know. And so it's like, that's not the way to go in my case, because when you're actually on a diet, you're focused on your wellness. You're focused on your lifestyle and ways that you can, you know, that you can sustain it and stuff like that, you know, that where it's not just where you have control over that, and it's not just about, you know, where you can actually, where it's not just about giving up your lifestyle or giving up what you want in this life just so that you can please some standards, which is ridiculous, in my opinion, at least. Because like I was telling you, keto works for me. Whatever I want to do, it's like, it allows, to me, I look at it like, oh well, this is a potential where you can you know, stay competitive in whatever you're trying to do. You don't have to just take menial results as an answer for all your problems, you know, like just because you might be doing bad in one area or whatever doesn't necessarily mean that's your ultimate fate. It could be a lifestyle change. Like case in point, as soon as I started changing things up, you know, I got better with my job. I got better with my I would say this. I got better with my interactions with people, my relationships with people. I got better at focusing. I just got better at life in general. It's just, and my physique also improved as well. There are just so many things, you know, and people don't understand that. That if you try to live a certain lifestyle that would improve markers of your overall life, that means that convenience has to be. Means that you have to basically have a certain lifestyle, strive for a certain lifestyle, and by doing so, you have to like design things a certain way. You have to put things in certain buckets and stuff like that. And so once you start thinking about it, once you start trying to manipulate the variables, and instead of them manipulating you, you start to realize, oh, well, I probably should be focusing on my diet. Like eventually that becomes an important thing, because, you know, you don't want to wake up in the middle of the night with a heart attack or a stroke or you know, or blood sugar issues, or like a panic attack, like what used to happen to me. You know, you don't want to do that, and then have to spend 12 hours at the hospital, you know, just inconveniently, and then you just don't want to, you know, and then go back to work and say, hey, I had to go through this, blah blah blah, and then you go through the cycle of mediocre results and all that. You know, I just don't want to go. I want to level up in life. I don't want to just like have that bad cycle. So that's why all this has been really important to me. So I really hope, crossing my fingers that that when I get my results, I'm not like atherogenic, you know, they call it atherogenic, you know, where your markers are bad and they're suggesting that you might have a clot or form a clot later, like pretty soon in life or whatever. So yeah. Let me think. Yeah, it's pretty early, but it is what it is, right? But yeah, I mean, I guess some people call this biohacking in a way. Keep seeing the term now online. Oh, I think I'm gonna put this stuff on. But yeah. I think the way that people look at things is that you go to school, you get a degree, and you just become obedient your whole entire life, and you don't do anything else. And by the time you work, you start your career, and it only takes about 5 years before you start having kids, and you get fat and sick, and then eventually your kids start, and your wife starts to, I'm talking about men, I guess, and your wife starts to take care of you as well in certain areas. I think that's what most people think of when they think of you going, as a man, growing up and stuff. That just isn't me. I always think of being a man as leveling up. You don't want to stay behind. There's no sequence of things like that in my mind. In my mind, leveling up in life is a lot more than just like leveling up in life is a lot more than just pleasing yourself or leveling yourself up. There's more to it than that. I'm starting to realize. So, and obviously life is not all about leveling up in and of itself. Achievement, that is. It's it doesn't have to be about achievement necessarily. And what I mean by that is while you're living your life, you don't have to constantly think like, oh, well, am I at this point, or am I at that point, blah blah blah. But it's more of an overall thing, like, well, do I want to have kids? No, I don't want to have kids now. Do I want to, because I know you're aware, or do I want to do this or that because, what do you call it? Because it seems like a good idea or seems like a natural thing to do, blah, blah, blah. But then you start realizing, well, you shouldn't be doing that because then it's like you're then regressing. You're not leveling up at that point. You're just regressing, and then you start to think, oh, well, okay, then I won't do that or whatever. So I would say diet falls under that because it kind of, you start to associate that with regression, like, oh yeah, this is not going to work. But I find that a lot of people don't want to do what it takes to level up because it's just not very convenient for them. Like they they know that they have a wife or they have some other entities that can help them out of their situation in an easier fashion, softer fashion, so they don't have to go through so-called hell, I guess. But it's like temporary hell sometimes, which I get. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I mean, there's levels of pleasure, obviously, right? But it just depends on like what you want, I guess. Because like for me, I'm just too aware of certain things. It's like that awareness. The more you think about it, the more you're like, oh shit. If you have bad dreams too, like dreams can definitely influence you too. Like you kind of have like this. How to say this? Like for me to become a father, you know, I wouldn't want to do that. You know, it's this deep this deep fear of just of the you know, not just of the unknown, but the fact that that it's just too easy to regress if you fall in there. If you start to do all that stuff, you can regress real fast. You know, you could like rely too much on your wife, or rely too much on your kids, or rely too much on everything around you, thinking without having to level up yourself, because there was not really much of an opportunity to level up. You know, it just like at that point you're kind of screwed because you are obligated to be the father figure or whatever. So, you know. So I mean, like, I wouldn't want to have kids anytime soon, to be perfectly honest. You can still level up to some extent. I mean, it's just going to be slow, and it's going to, you know, it's going to be one of those things where it comes in the form of, like, other people kind of propping you up, saying you should do this thing and that thing, instead of you looking at yourself and saying, what do I really need to do to level up, you know? So, yeah. I don't know, it's just some thoughts I have right now, because like I just think about all the goals I have and stuff like that, and like, why do I have them, and you know, compared to like how life would be if I didn't, or if I wasn't so goal-oriented, I guess. I don't know. And, oh yeah, so I'm going back to the blood work. Sorry, blood work, right? Blood work. So I tested that, and I also tested the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, because it's also related to lifestyle. Like, generally I've been including more seafood and fish and all that, and I take supplements. So I want to see, like, if there's a correlation with the lifestyle change that I made and some other markers. So omega-3 to omega-6 is very important, because it's like basically brain health. It can show like markers of inflammation in the brain, and seeing if you're headed in the right direction for that. And brain health was one of the most important things for leveling up, in my opinion. It's like, you really want to have good brain health, especially if you're in a technical profession, you know. So I always advocate that, you know. I would always advocate that. I mean, some people, brain health is kind of like overall health in a way, because your brain is the center point for everything. So without that, you can really damage everything else. So it's good to focus on regardless, but especially for me, I guess, you know, someone like me. And yeah, it's kind of interesting, because I find that I'm like, at least, unless they're also hiding it, but I feel like people at work are not really taking things like how I am, you know, trying to really hone in on all this stuff. And I can understand, but oh shit, you know what? I think I'm gonna make an omelet today, but I have to do it right this time. And I think there's a way to do it to where you can make it soft and stuff like that. But yeah. So I'm about 56 hours into the fast, and honestly, I don't really feel that bad. I mean, I just know I need to eat because of the low protein levels or whatever that my body senses. But it doesn't seem that bad. Like I was telling you, those ketones are just going to remain low for a long time. So in some ways, I do regret not eating in the last 2 days, just because it's not consistent with OMAD, and it's like, well, what are the consequences? What are they going to be today, right? I don't know. Good question. Because when I break my fast, it's going to be different than just doing a regular single meal OMAD thing, you know. So that'll be interesting. I haven't done this for a while. Like, this is probably the longest fast I've done since the 7-day. Because I've just been doing basically 2-day fast, like alternate day fasting in a way. But yeah. It's just a lot of dishes. That's why I'm spending so much time. And you know how it is when you're fasting. You're just like, certain functions don't work, so you go kind of slow sometimes. I think that's what it is when you're fasting, or when you're not operating on any carbs at all. Yeah, so I think right now I have about 18 pounds, maybe 17.9 or 17.8 pounds of fat. I went from 19.3. I don't know 100%, but this is just what I'm guessing. And I wish I didn't break my fast right now, because like it's kind of harsh, but it's a Friday and my, let's just say my main boss is out. So I wouldn't say it's a free pass, but, and I woke up early, so it's like I have some time to cook and all that, So I'm glad I didn't go on a run. I'm glad I didn't, because then that means that I probably would have lost some muscle, I'm really happy I didn't do that. So I'm proud of myself. But yeah, I literally did nothing that would kick me out of ketosis for I literally fasted for the last 56 hours. So, and then I got some new nut butters that I want to try. And I did try it. That was the last thing I ate, was the raw meal. It's like raw meal nut butters. And so but I got another one like later on, just to taste. I haven't tasted it yet. I also got some cheeses that I wanted to taste, so I'm gonna have that along with my main meal. But I have to slow down, because like this is an actual fast. So this is an actual fast, so I have to be careful, you know what I mean? So this is like, when you're breaking a fast, it's rough on your system. So I think I'm gonna do that, and then you'll also see me make I think I'm gonna make a mocha or a cold brew coffee. So yeah. Yeah, I'm starting to realize, like, I don't know what it is, but I started to realize that a lot of this cooking stuff and stuff like that, like at first I didn't really see it, but that was just because I was on a streak to lose weight and stuff like that, right? But now I'm like, I'm not saying I'm gonna get convenience food, but I'm finding that it just takes a long time to cook, It's like, holy shit, I didn't realize just how much time I was spending. Like when I talk to my manager and we go through like jobs and stuff and like how long things take me and stuff like that, I start to realize like my brain, my focus is large, like especially compared to my previous job, my focus is largely not there. It's like it's there, but for some reason, like my I want to say my overall thoughts go around like have been going around like what I could do to cook and stuff like that. So it's not that I get distracted, but in my mind, compared to like other times, it's not really prioritizing like work or prioritizing those things. It's prioritizing all of this. That's why I noticed all this like baking stuff and stuff like that. So so I'm trying to change that up a bit where my mind isn't as like wrapped around cooking, eating, and weight loss and stuff like that, and ketones and stuff like that. So I want to focus more on the like a passion for I mean not I don't want to focus on anything individually, because then it could take away from one thing. Like I said, there was those 4 buckets, right? The saving, the 10%, saving money, 10% body fat goal, the getting better at the job, productivity, and then whatever the 4th one was. I should know. Whatever it was, right? All right, finding a tenant, right? Finding a tenant and that kind of thing. So, I mean, the thing is, I started realizing that there was probably like a good month or so where pretty much 90% of my efforts were, hold on a second, were focused on the baking and the weight loss. Sorry, that was just the garbage. I thought I didn't take it out. I did. But anyway, so like 90% of my efforts have been, my mind and all my energy and stuff like that has been into weight loss and diet and stuff like that, right? So I realized that a lot of that, so whenever I'm on the computer doing my work, I think what happens is like, it's not as intuitive for me to say, hey, I'm going to, like, I don't go through the process of lumping together the jobs, so I'm not as fast. I think I noticed that by not trying to be more aware of that, more aware of your job in general and the importance of it, you're kind of not going as fast because your brain isn't lumping together things that it can to simplify whatever you're looking at. So in the same way, by putting more focus in this thing, it made me lump together things related to it that simplified the process and made things more efficient. And I'll just leave it at that. It sounds vague for me to say that, but for example, if I had put some of that energy, investment, if you will, if you want to call it investment, of energy into more of my job than this stuff, what I noticed is that I'd be more aware of the jobs that are easier. Like I'd be like, okay, well this set, there's more trusses in this set, so I'll just tackle them, and I know this customer is easy, blah, blah, blah. And so I'd think more big picture. And then I would also think about like different things related to my coworkers, like, oh, this person I haven't talked to them for a while, or I wonder how they're doing. I know that this was happening, blah, blah, blah. Whereas when I'm doing my job now, it's more like very random. I don't think big picture. I just go to the job, do the work, and I'm not thinking about anything else. And every once in a while I get distracted by food and, biochemistry or something, just every once in a while I get distracted. So I think, and beforehand, I remember when I put all my eggs in one basket, i.e. my job in the beginning, and that's what I was doing in the beginning when I was a fat fuck, and I didn't really realize I was doing this. Really, it was 50% that and 50% the PE, because I was still gonna pass the PE, I would be regularly be so engaged in my job that I would regularly find simplifications in what I was doing. Like, it would just be intuitive. Like, I would start reaching out to people and stuff like that and saying, hey, how you doing? And we're talking like as if we're human and stuff. And then if I go to the job queue and I see that certain jobs are being done, I'm like, oh, maybe I could grab this and just do it real fast. Or maybe I could do this. And like my mind was able to see what was able to manipulate the environment or whatever I was doing to make my job more efficient and simple. Whereas now it's like I just don't have that big picture thinking anymore because I'm not putting as much investment into it. And I think it's because I've been putting all my investment in, just about most of it, into the diet stuff. So this is where I think I didn't really see it until like yesterday. I'm like, oh, this is why I'm less efficient at my job. Now I know what's going on. Or less efficient than back then, I guess. Or less efficient than what other people would look at and say, hey, why aren't you being as efficient or whatever. I'm like, this is probably why everybody else is like, can do 1,000 trusses in a day or something. I don't know. But I'm not saying that it's a magical thing where you just suddenly invest more into it. But what I'm saying is that, like, the best thing to do, this is why I think, is like, don't fast for long periods of time all the time. Just, I think sticking with OMAD is the way to go, and that's why I partially regret not just sticking with it, because every time I do a long-term fast, I naturally gravitate towards all this shit. Like I put more investment into it than I should. So anyway. As I've said before, eating should be simple. You should just be cooking, you eat, and then you get back to your normal shit. And that's the best way to go about things, because then it makes everything else intuitive. You don't have to think about it. You could just, and then you become faster at it too, So that's where I'm at right now. But I'm trying to find what I might need. Yeah, because I'm not going to do every dish. Like, I don't have to do every dish in order for me to cook. And I just have to, well, okay, so the thing is, there's some in the dishwasher that need to be put away, but let's see. Yeah, because I felt like in the beginning of my job, when I first started, I felt like I was a lot more intuitive about the job duties. And now it just feels like I have to be robotic, Even though it's the same work. And obviously I wasn't as efficient as I am now, because I don't know if I said I was, but sorry if I sounded misleading. I really want to have those cookies that I made. I mean, they look so good, but I have to eat my main stuff, So there's pretty much no sugar in those. I think in total it's like 5 grams of sugar. Like, yeah. So so good. Have a little bit. Susie. Susie. So, I don't know what time it is. It's already been 40 minutes out here. $7:05. All right. Not too worried about spending more time than I might need, and then getting on the computer whatever around 8:30 or something, because like I was telling you, he's gone and stuff like that. So yeah. So here's the raw Mio nut butters that I got from if you're interested, from online. I understand, like, I didn't really see it until now, but this one has cashews in it, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, it says it's the second ingredient, but everything else together with it, I'll be honest, I mean, it tastes really good. It's got raw almonds, raw cashews, raw goji berries, raw chia seeds, raw hemp seeds, and Himalayan pink salt. I understand that goji berries has a little bit of fructose. Not too worried. I think that there's a very small amount in here, and I understand, you know, some people are against goji berries, but anyway. And then this one, also the great thing about this is it only has 2 grams of sugars. So that I know that doesn't include the fructose or whatever's in the goji berries, but it's good to know. And there's only 5 net grams of carbs. Net carbs. 5 grams of net carbs in 1 serving. So there's 6 servings in here. I've already had half of it. So yeah. And then this one, I haven't had any yet because it just came in yesterday. So it looks an awful lot like a lot of some other hazelnut butters that I have. This is called Hazelnut Crunch. It's also pretty low in sugar. It's 7 grams of sugar, but they've added sugar, so I'm fine with that. It's the second ingredient. So there's 7 grams of sugar per serving. There's 6 servings in here. And 12 grams of, well, actually, 8 grams of net carbs, which is fine. Again, it's fine with me. I don't typically have the whole jar at once or whatever. I just kind of take it bit by bit, so that's good. But just figured I would show you because I'm really looking forward to tasting that one. But yeah. So let me think here. I gotta get my ingredients and all that. Yeah, I'm really hungry. So I got another cutting board. So this doesn't say use. I got another cutting board from Target. It was only 15 bucks. And so this is smaller than the other one, and so I'm gonna probably just use that. The other one is huge. I went away just to get more space. Yeah. So I thought about making an omelet or something like that. I wanted to try the cheese, like I was telling you, the new one that I got. It's a truffle one. So, and then I wanted to try some of this blue cheese, gorgonzola blue cheese that I like. So, I'm like, I love cheese, you know. So, looking for my, I guess I don't, yeah, I guess I wanted to, well, maybe I'll make an omelet later, I don't know, because for the interest of time or whatever. Oh, and then I got a cheese grater from Target. That's going to be useful, like a cheese grater that goes over the surface of whatever you're cooking over, so. Come on. Oh, there we go. Okay. Don't know what the point of that is. Okay. All right. Let me see here. I'm just trying to figure out, like, it shouldn't be that hard. It's just, maybe I'm just overcomplicating things. But, you know what? I'll make an omelet. But I'm trying to remember how the guy did it. I watched his video. And it was like he used one of these things, kind of like pushing it in. I think it was just a 3-minute process, and then eventually flipped it over. So I'm gonna cut some cheese. Actually, I'm not gonna cut cheese. I'm gonna grate it over, and then Yeah, that'll be my omelet, but I won't. So I won't put any meat in it. I thought about it, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. So, just gonna cut this up. See, all of this shit, if you think about it, when I was leveling up in the beginning, like when I was just barely leveling up for the first time when I was 18, all of this shit was like not important at all. None of this shit was important at all. Like all this dieting and stuff, it only had as much important as you conveniently doing something. So for me, I just was like, okay, oatmeal, it's healthy, right? Okay, I guess it is healthy. So I'll just have oatmeal in the morning and then move on with my day and not think about food and just dive into all my studies. Just don't even look back. Just make it simple, blah, 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 right? But then after a while, your energy level, you start realizing your energy level is dependent on it and stuff like that. So, I mean, it took me like 2 years for me to realize that. I don't know why, but with that realization came a lot more complications with leveling up further. It was like, holy shit, now I got to incorporate all this stuff to level up in life. So, it's interesting how things work. Because food, I was not all about food at all. I was not, like, you could basically say I was, by definition, just a lean person. I didn't care about food. All I cared about was, like, how I achieved something in a video game or how I achieved something in real life or how I was going towards goals and stuff like that. And also, I was concerned with, I was deeply concerned with, like, I guess, how smooth I was. I don't know. Because I had issues with girls and stuff like that. Like, I'd be like, you know, this girl didn't like me or this girl did this thing a certain way and stuff like that. I mean, you're going to be like that when you're younger, right? But I don't have as much of an issue, I guess, because maybe because I leveled up or something like that. Probably, but I'm just saying that the way things used to be is how they used to be, so that's just the way it is. So, but we are here, and it is amazing. Okay, so I got my cheese here. And then imagine at that time I was not doing a full-time job at all. Like I didn't have to do anything. Like back then I was just naturally doing things, like whatever was natural, like, oh, well, I want to visit a friend, okay, I'm going to go do that. Or if I wanted to, I don't know, spend 3 hours watching porn and jerking off, I'm going to do that. I don't do that anymore, right? But I'm just saying, you know, I don't spend all that time doing that anymore, right? So things are a lot different. But I'm just saying that the time scales are different because you have to spend more time on your job, like 10 hours a day, 11 hours a day, or whatever. And then, so the nature of things change, and so for you to level up changes as well, you know. I hope this is not bad. So I'm gonna cook with it. I'm gonna make a salad unless this is bad. It looks like it might be bad. Might have to get some mixed greens at the store. Yep, I'm not gonna take my chance. Yeah, it's alright. I don't know what I'm gonna do about the greens, but Oh, these are getting soggy too, I think. Yeah. Best to throw out. It's arugula, but well, I guess I can't make my salad. I thought I was gonna be able to, and I thought that was gonna help me, but I'm gonna have to make it the next meal or whatever. So, yeah. Although what's interesting is back in the day, when I was so-called lean, I still had a SIBO stomach. So my stomach was still protruding. Like, right now it somewhat is, but not nearly at the level that it used to be. And so, sure, I mean, I was considered lean, or lean looking, but still I had that, and that was not very ideal. So, because I wasn't working out or anything, I was just, slightly, but. I didn't understand what it meant to level up in life beyond age 18. I'll just put it that way. Which makes sense. I mean, I give myself a break. But that was just 18, you know. But and I don't know what I want. I was gonna cook some shrimp as well. Forgot about that. So. $15 minutes, 7:20. I have to be cognizant of the time because I gotta start work soon. But again, my manager's gone, so the only thing is I might have somebody that comes in every once in a while check up on me saying, hey, how come this is not done yet, or something like that. And I started doing this one job. Work is work, you know, it's always going to be like that. So I'm not, again, not going to worry too much. So, yeah, I just wanted to warm that up a little bit. Put the 3 eggs on there. Oh, I want to whisk it first. And I'm just going to put cheese on it. So I want to enjoy a good omelet. I might use a 4th egg, you know what? I'll use a 4th egg. Right, and I wanted to put the saffron on there. So I learned my lesson from last time. Hopefully. To crush it before I put the ice on. So if I have something to crush with, which I think is right here. Oh. I should be wearing my chef thing. best. All right, so I'm gonna. Some of this. Beautiful. Oh, God. It's good cheese. So, all right. You gotta be cognizant of the time here. 7:35. Okay, good. I want to flip this over. Oh man. Turned out just like a shitty oven there. I didn't flip it fast enough, but it's all good. I'll do better next time. I'm gonna taste this for the first time. The truffle cheese, looks hella good. But hold on a second, I'm gonna Cut out the zucchini. Right, I was gonna get beef. Ground beef. I had some ground beef. The winged wagyu. Fuck. Gonna grab something. The wagyu beef. Where is it? Where's the wagyu beef? Wagyu. Oh, I know. Use the rest of it. Time is a bitch. Alright, I gotta get going, so alright, catch you guys later. This is what my food looks like. Thanks for watching.